All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is part 2 of Understanding A Course in Miracles. Today I'm going to be using a chart that was originally developed by Ken Wapnick to describe the basic metaphysics of understanding A Course in Miracles. The key to, if you do decide that you're interested in A Course in Miracles as a path, and you actually get yourself to do the workbook. The workbook is a mind training to help change your thinking. The key to doing the workbook is really getting the basic gist of the foundational understanding of the metaphysics. So this is really important, especially if you consider doing the workbook. And if you're not interested in Course in Miracles as a path, most of this stuff is really universal. So yeah, we'll get down to the gist of it here. Let's see. Top part of the chart represents oneness. Oneness is also known as the Father and the Son. There's no separation in oneness. There's no separate parts. In truth, this is our reality, and there's no way that we can actually escape it. This is an unlimited state, no time, no space. There's no need of any kind. We have everything because we are everything. So yeah, this is a state that's really hard for us to understand, because nothing here in our reality that we perceive with our five senses is like oneness. Everything here is perceived in separate parts. In oneness, there are no separate parts. There's no distinction. There's no one or the other. There's no up, down. There's no distance. It's completely one. We have here the beginning of what the Course calls the tiny mad idea. Now, it's as if for a brief moment, the Son of God, what the Course calls the Son of God, for a brief moment entertained the idea of what it would be like to be separate from this state. And this is the origin of the belief in separation. We have here two reactions to the idea that we can be separate from this state of oneness, that the Son can actually separate from the Father. The ego and the Holy Spirit. I discussed a little bit about that in the first video. Holy Spirit's the memory of who we are. The ego is the idea that we can be separate from what we are. So this represents two aspects of our mind. The ego, the belief in separation, this is also the origin of, or the beginning of what the Course calls sin, guilt, and fear. Sin, guilt, and fear. The sin is that separation. The sin is the separation, the entertaining the idea that I can be separate from what we actually are. The guilt is the actual belief that we separated. And the fear is the fear that our newly found sense of individuality is going to be annihilated. It's also known as the fear of God, the wrath of God, that I entertain this idea of separation and now I'm in big trouble. Because now this oneness, this perfect love and oneness, seems to be a threat to our newly formed ego mind. Now it all of a sudden, an endless ocean of eternity seems like it's going to devour this newly found sense of self. This is also what the Course calls the secret dream. This is a secret dream that we're entertaining a private thought It's as if we're entertaining a private thought from God, and it's a secret dream that we can be separate and be on our own from this state of oneness. This is also known as the Course's version of the Big Bang. This is the original cause of what set everything, every separate thing into motion. All of time and space was set into motion through this original desire. It's also, this is the origin of the first judgment, where we judged ourselves to be different from our Creator, from our source, what we are. This is also the origin of one or the other. One or the other. And this whole thing represents a thought system of separating ourselves from God, or oneness. One or the other. It's either oneness or it's my newly found sense of individuality. So this is the original first separate thought from oneness. The origin of all things. The original desire that set everything in motion. It was through our desire for something else that set all this into motion. This sin, guilt, and fear is such a traumatic, nothing here in our world can even come close to the terror that we feel when this original thought of separation rises in the mind. It feels we're going to be annihilated in a way that can't even come close to any kind of terror here in the world. So the whole idea here of this is the secret dream, what we're dreaming in secret. The whole plan here to establish the separation, to keep the separation but not be the cause of it. We had to come up with the way that we could forget that we were the cause. In other words, we had to make this unconscious. Feeling responsible for this thought that we're playing around with. We're playing around with the knowledge of good and evil is what we're doing here. We're playing around with the idea of creating without oneness, without God. And this is what's also referred to as the great projection. The whole ego strategy here was to project this thought, the sin, guilt, and fear that's in our mind, the separation, the belief that we did it, and the fear that we're going to be annihilated for it. We had to come up with an escape plan, and this is what's called the world's dream. The world's dream. The whole idea here was to keep the separation, but to not be responsible for it, to not be the cause. And we had to create a veil of amnesia where to make most of our mind, to make most of our mind unconscious. And so it's as if just the tip of the iceberg. We're conscious of a separate self, of a body. We're now a dream figure in our mind's dream. This is the birth of the physical universe. Sin, guilt, and fear projected outward. The sin becomes the past. The guilt becomes the present moment, and the fear becomes the future. So the contents, we haven't left the mind, but it's as if now we projected our mind's thought outside of our mind. And we made these bodies, perceptual apparatuses, to actually see the thought that's in our mind as if it's outside of our body. And if our body's outside of our mind too. It seems we're literally inside out. outside of our mind. We're really a mind that encompasses and contains all things, but it seems now we're a dream figure in our own mind's dream, and we haven't really left the mind. It seems that this thought system of separation that we entertained in our mind, it now seems if it's outside of us, and it seems if it's real. Separation's real. This whole thought system seems to be real. Oh, and also, it's as if this oneness here, it doesn't even know about anything below this line, because this is what we're entertaining in secret. It can't really happen in reality. So keep in mind, everything below this line is an illusion. This is the Son of God entertaining the idea of separation, the original desire to be separate from oneness. And we've made up a world and a physical universe in which we contain this idea of separation, to be on our own but not be responsible for it. It seems victim and victimizer all of a sudden can be real, because the belief in separation up here in the mind, separate from God, is now, it seems, alive and well in our world's dream. It seems that we all have separate, autonomous lives, that individuality can be real. We attach a name to a body, age, personal history, and it's all fake. There's really only one mind behind all this. We can't really escape from being one mind, but we created a dream where we could reenact this idea. We're reenacting the death of God, the death of oneness. And that's why it's scripted. Our bodies die, and they're vulnerable to prove to us that the separation is real, but we're not the cause of it. That's the key thing here, is that we created the whole dream like it is. It's all based on illusion. It's all based on sacrifice. It's all based on one or the other. That's why nothing here lasts. It's all the knowledge of good and evil. It's, the original and the mythological story in the Bible, it's the forbidden fruit, because once you eat that fruit, you can die. You can be hurt. You can die. So we're really totally immortal. We were created as eternal spirit, as oneness. Oneness only creates like itself. It only has thoughts of eternity. We're here in the dream, it's just the opposite. This is like an insane hotel. This is our own creation. The Course is very, it says that God, oneness, never created this world. This is the Son of God sleeping, dreaming every separate thing. So this veil of amnesia, we're born as a baby, a body every time, and we forget, and we just recycle this guilt, the belief in separation. We recycle over and over and over again, reenacting all these different scripts where we point the finger and we blame somebody else. We say, you're the guilty sinner, not me. God's going to get you, not me, if we're a religious person. Or we might just keep going around and around in circles, blaming other people and other things for our problem. The only problem is this, the unconscious belief that we separated from our source. That's the only problem. The entire physical universe is made from this belief, this desire. So it's through desire that we left, or seem to have left our source. It's through desire that we get back. The miracle, talk a little bit about the miracle, the shift in perception from being a body, a dream figure in our mind's dream, to being a mind, a decision-making mind. So the ego and the Holy Spirit are two internal teachers, and by default, we're set to the ego thought system. We believe in one or the other. We believe in sacrifice. We believe one person can have what another doesn't. Our whole reality is based on one or the other. It's either you or me. There's winners, there's losers, there's good guys and bad guys. It's all the belief in separation. So we need a internal teacher, the Holy Spirit or Jesus, to guide us slowly out of this dream that we made. We made a dream where separation's real. So what does this all mean for us? The atonement. Accepting the atonement for ourselves. All right. All right, welcome back. Gotta love video edit. All right, so another day. So back to where we were. I left off with the atonement. The atonement is that in reality, separation from perfect oneness or God is really impossible. It's only an illusion or fantasy. This is the Son of God. We use the word Son of God as just a dualistic term we use. Course in Miracles language. The Son of God is entertaining the belief in separation. The belief that we sinned or that we separated. In order to believe that we separated, we have to actually believe that we're guilty of actually doing it. And the fear is we're going to be punished. We're going to be annihilated for this. Couldn't say this enough. This is really the key to understanding how our whole reality works here in the dream. A physical body is designed by our one mind to perceive a limited amount of information. The physical body is designed to show us that separation is real, but I'm not the cause of it. I say, I'm not a mind. I didn't cause the separation from God. I was born as a body, man. I didn't ask to be here. I was unfairly treated as a body, and now my attack is justified, and on and on and on. And it's all set up that way by the mind. All the laws of physics and all the laws of our physical universe are actually staged by the mind. They're actually thought patterns within our one mind. So what scientists are looking for, what they don't realize is that the very eye that stares through the telescope is that observer and observed are actually one and the same. We're actually looking at our mind's thought. What we perceive with our body is designed to perceive the thought in our mind. Brains are actually thoughts in our mind. So this whole thing, the worldly, this whole world and physical universe is designed to keep us thinking that separation's real, but we're not the cause of it. So I think I've went over that quite enough times here, but it really takes a while to wrap one's mind around this. So we're not a body, but we're actually a mind. So everyone that we see, all forgiveness is self-forgiveness. Everyone we see is actually us. That's what we have to ultimately realize, is that everything we're seeing outside of us is actually coming from our own mind. Everything that we see outside of us is coming from our own mind. This really has to be understood before forgiveness can even be understood at all. Otherwise, it's what the Course calls forgiveness to destroy. Forgiveness to destroy our oneness. It says, I am different from you, and I will forgive you for what you did. So the Course teaches that we forgive our brother for what he did not do. What did our brother? Our brother did not cause the separation from God. What we say, oh, my brother murdered, he stole, he did all these things, he attacked me when I was innocent, but this is all staged by our one mind. Whenever we're attacked by another, we actually, on an unconscious level, we staged that to prove that attack is real, but we're not the cause of it, or our attack is justified, or to prove that victim and victimizer are different, that my special self is real and different from other selves. So this whole thing is a hiding place. We're hiding from oneness. We're hiding from God in the prodigal son's wandering away from his kingdom only to wake up in a pigsty. The pigsty is the physical universe, the projection, the thought that we projected from our mind. So that's how we're living in sin, guilt, fear. We're living in sin, guilt, and fear. And the body is a prison for the mind, because the body says, the mind programmed the body to be vulnerable, to age and die. So it seems like the mind is powerless, that the body orders, the jailer orders what the prisoner must do. And the body is a prison, or playground for us, until it becomes a classroom where we learn our lesson, where we forgive ourselves. We take the hand of Jesus or the Holy Spirit, and we walk the path. The path is the straight and narrow path that few even care to find, because we're so busy being distracted by the world's dream that we rarely ever find this path. That saying, the way is straight and narrow, few find it. The way out of hell is forgiveness, and it's the type of forgiveness where we see it's all us. It's all coming from our own mind. So accepting the atonement is ultimately the separation never happened, and to forgive, fulfill our function, and forgive, and wake up from the dream of separation that the ego let us down. So ultimately, it's coming back to this point of decision where we choose another teacher. In our daily life in the world, when we find attack, guilt, criticism, all those things, we know we have the power of decision to choose another teacher, to choose again. So Christ's vision replaces our own ego vision. Christ's vision sees all the bodies, all the separate bodies and individuals as one and the same. They're all the same dreaming mind. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. Christ's vision, the atonement, separation never happened. So this represents our right mind, the correction for our wrong-minded decision for separation. We set up the world to make it look like we're innocent. We didn't choose separation, that we didn't choose it, that I was born as a baby. I don't know how I got here or why I'm here. We don't realize that we actually set this up that way. It just didn't happen that way. So God or oneness's only will for us is to wake up from the dream, to come home to our right mind, to the truth. It's not about having a happy dream, as far as it's not about making a lot of money, having a successful career, having a healthy body. All these things are fine and dandy, but they don't wake us up from the dream. We can employ this classroom of forgiveness no matter what we're going through in the dream. If things are going well for us, we're on a sandy beach, we got a lot of money, healthy body, we got everything we want, it's still a classroom of forgiveness. If we're laying as a bum in the alley, suffering and dying, it's a classroom where we choose another teacher. We choose the internal teacher, the Holy Spirit, rather than the ego. No matter what situation we're in, we can practice forgiveness. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. This stuff has been hashed out. Volumes of books and speeches, these ideas, and around and around and around and around. It takes a while to understand them. This is just the basic gist and practice for me. So I definitely applaud you if you made it this far in the video. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.